All right, welcome everyone. Welcome. Glad to have you guys here. My name is Johnny Rosa. I am the marketing manager here at Zappix. Very excited to have everyone here, and very excited also to have some experts from our team and the industry. Bob Barrows, the Senior Director of Partnerships and Business Development here at Zappix, and Arijit Chatterji, the Chief Business Officer over at C-Zentrix. We've got a lot lined up for you here today, but I want to make sure you guys know, along with this webinar, if you find things interesting, if you find the information here compelling, and I think you will, we have a companion ebook that we'll be sending to all the attendees as well. So get excited for that as well. It's a great dive into some of the keynotes and key information that we'll be sharing today. And we've got a lot lined up. We'll see what Gartner and some other folks in the industry have to say about digital and visual customer experience and innovation that's going on today. We'll look at how companies are adapting to how do you implement new innovation? What do you focus on? What's the important things to take away and move forward? And of course, we'll hear from our great experts here on how to do that, where to go from here. How do you adapt in a rapidly changing marketplace that we find ourselves in today? So as we move forward, I want to start first with a great quote from Jason Wong at Gartner. If you're not reading Gartner's blogs, you really should. They do a great job of boiling down what we should be paying attention to today. And this line really stood out to me in one of Jason Wong's recent blogs. He's talking about multi-experience. It's really something that a lot of folks are focusing on today. He says multi-experience is about designing and developing seamless and effortless experiences across apps, digital touchpoints, and interaction modalities. Notice he doesn't say channel. Many of you may think multi-experience is the same as multi-channel or omni-channel. It's not. And that's the key point I want to make here. And we'll look at as we go forward here. Customers don't see channels. They don't say, oh, I'm going to choose to use the voice channel and call in, or, oh, I think the web channel is going to be a better experience. No, they're thinking about experiences only. They're focused on experience. And that's the key today to get across. And it drives a lot of the contact center priorities this year and going forward. You see, the #1 contact center priority, according to Gartner, this year is to increase self-service usage. Not just increase self-service channels, but to get customers to actually use those self-service channels and those automated services that we're all focused on launching this year. And upgrading legacy technology, automating customer service, shifting from reactive to proactive. All of these priorities are focused on benefiting the customer and benefiting the customer experience. So as we go forward, I want you to think about, that's the problem we're here to look at today. This difference between multi-channel and multi-experience. And that multi-experience is really what the consumers are going to be focusing on. So that's what we have. Consumers are still looking at digital. We all know the voice channel is king. People are still calling in more than ever now, too. Especially if you think about retail going to the holiday season, things like every industry sees spikes in volume at various times of year. Those calls are still happening. But when people are calling in, we're seeing a higher abandonment rate for a lot of reasons, right? I'm sure you guys are familiar with the challenges of staffing now in this new reality, higher call volumes in those spikes, because customers are looking for a good experience. And while we have multi-channels, we find working with our customers, a lot of folks still have siloed digital channels. You might have automation on your web, you might have automation in your IVR, but they're different. They're not connected, and so that limits the self-service utilization. That really limits the experience that customers are going to have, because they want that seamless interaction all the way across. So I want to bring in our experts here. We'll start with Arijit. I'm really excited to have Arijit Chatterji here. the Chief Business Officer at C-Zentrix. And I'm also excited to have Bob Barrows, our Partnerships and Business Development leader here at Zappix as well, to speak about, what do we do? What does a company look at faced with this situation and the problem of the difference between what corporate expects and what consumers expect today? So, Arijit, if you take it away.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot, Johnny, for the introduction. And before we go further, I would just take one step backwards and see about the need of this digital customer experience that we are talking about, the CX part of it, which is delivered through digital channels. So why it is so? So if I go to the next slide and see how it's panning out. So as we see, these various channels that we are too much engrossed with, whether it is social media or WhatsApp or any of these digital interfaces, is where most of our customers are. Okay, and as a company, it's very important. It is very critical to be where the customers are, and that's where the positioning of the organization has to be there in terms of touch points. And this is the start where the digital customer experience is so important. Okay, let's look at how a digital customer journey to explain slightly more how a digital customer experience, the new age customer is experiencing this digital customer journey. So for example, a customer comes over a voice call, okay, and typically over a voice call there are high call volumes and the customer may have to wait. So it can be offered a digital self-service over the call. And if he has that option, then an SMS is triggered. The customer can then take that option and click on the SMS link, and here you go, you got a visual IVR in front of you. So visual IVR will have almost all menu items, which is available in the normal IVR. Okay, but this is completely self-service. So the customer is able to do all that he or she was expecting to do over a normal call, but this time he can do it at her comfort and choose the options that is relevant. But there is always a situation where the customer still needs a live agent, the support of a human, and that's where we also offer along with it is a support. So on the option, when the customer selects, can you move on to the, yeah. So from here, the customer can connect to a live agent via chat, okay. And in some business use cases, maybe for an insurance organization where a claim process has to be done, a video chat is required. So this chat can double up as a video chat. So what we are seeing over here is a very nice orchestration of the digital channels working in tandem with live aids. And the beautiful part of it is, if the visual IVR is well designed, there's a high call containment on the visual IVR itself. That means the automation has taken most of the customer inquiries, and still there is a 30% chance that the customer needs a live agent, and that is also available. So I will go through another experience of a digital customer journey, which is very similar, but this time the customer may have preferred a different channel to interact, and it could be in a different geography where WhatsApp is more relevant. And here, if you see through a WhatsApp channel, the customer is interacting over a WhatsApp bot, and the WhatsApp bot is designed to cater to all the requirements that the customer has. If you would have otherwise interacted over a live over a phone call on a normal IVR. So instead of that, WhatsApp bot is able to do all the things what the customer is expecting. But then there is always, because we have seen, there is always a need to connect with a live agent, and that's where we are again providing access to a live chat. But now, if you see, the chat interface is also on WhatsApp for the customer. So there, for the end user, there is no change in terms of her experience. Okay, and whenever it is required, he gets the assistance of a live agent. And again, the smartness of this WhatsApp bot, increases the containment and reduces the workload on the live agent. Now I will quickly get into the benefits. Okay, so the benefits are multi, if you see. From a end user perspective, what Johnny was saying about the multi experience instead of multi channels, right? He saw the multi experience that the customer is going through is more empowered with self-service channels, and at when required gets a human connections. From a business point of view, the key benefits. One is the first is the to do a call deflection. Okay, so I don't let my customers wait in the queue. That's a very bad experience that we can give to our customers to make him wait in the queue. Automation. So the more the automation in this call, the call containment rate is going to increase, and it will lower the overall operational cost. I don't need more live agents to reply to them because the automation is taken care of. Live chat, definitely, as we said, that it is required, a live agent, but it is better than a phone agent, because a phone agent can take one call at a time, okay? Whereas a live agent can take concurrent chats at the same time. So if an agent can take 5 chats at one time versus a phone agent who can take one call at a time. So obviously it is a gain of 5 times using a live chat. And then the capability of video, because in certain application, not for all applications that you need a video capability, but in certain application you need a video capability as well. So, and it is a better engagement between the customer and the agent. So this is what I would summarize: a digital customer experience, a nice orchestration between digital and the human, the agent in the loop that Johnny was mentioning, and the lot of benefits that it brings together. So I would request Bob to go forward with this.
Thanks, Arijit. And those are good kind of points. It kind of bringing together how to put the right engagement with the customer and additional options, as we saw with visual IVR that we've spoken about, with the chat that we can incorporate into the visual IVR, and of course, the other types of engagement bots that Arijit and C-Zentrix have. One area that I kind of focused on when we worked on this ebook together, us and Zappix and C-Zentrix, we put a few weeks into this, and we spoke to a lot of customers and prospects and partners in the ecosystem. And a big piece of it is really comes down to understanding what your customer, what your user is doing when they are engaging. So we have all these great digital channels. We have the typical voice channel and the IVR that they engage, and we bring solutions that can help engage the customer and bring the information that they need. But it goes beyond that, and not even beyond that, before that, and that's really understanding what the customer is doing when they need you, and when they're engaging with you. And it's kind of an empathy factor. Some companies think of empathy in certain ways. They think it's more about a little bit more to the heart and understanding your customers. There's also the piece of it, though, of more understanding the empathy of what your customer is doing. Are they in the car when they're calling you? Are they a passenger? Are they driving when they're in the car? Are they in a train? Are they in an area that they can't speak? That ties into what digital channels and what digital engagements that you want to put in front of them. And again, what Johnny had mentioned about the Great Gartner kind of opening that we had spoke about, is customers don't care, though. They don't want to know, okay, I'm going to go in this channel. I'm going to go in this channel. Even though today they do know that. They do know there's a website. They do know they have Facebook and user posts, user groups that they can go to get answers, questions, or chat and dial in. But us, as providers of solutions that help call center, help them engage their customers, we have to think way ahead of that so that we can identify really what they're doing and anticipate and also adapt. So it really comes down to know what your customers and users are doing when they're engaging you and how to incorporate that into your operations, your processes, your workflows, and the skill sets of your people and the agents, so that they can support them properly and really give them what they want. So that's what we've kind of done in taking that empathy and incorporating it into how we bring our visual IVR and our self-service solutions, accordingly. And that's what we see here. And the voice channel is really a big focus that has come out there, because again, we've mentioned that we have a lot of those digital channels that are great, but there's the question is, voice is still, king and queen in the sense that people utilize it. They believe that it's a big area to go into, and they think they can get things most efficiently that way and to get to an agent. So we really want to zone in on how do we turn that voice call into a digital experience and give them the digital tools that they need. And that's what we're doing with visual IVR. Because again, when the voice call happens, typically even still today, 85+% of those calls are ending up with an agent. The IVR system just can't do it. It's not really a digital engagement. So that containment rate is really low. So what we found is when we incorporate that visual IVR and we give the user, when they've dialed in and they're waiting for an agent, or they're expecting an agent, they want to talk to somebody, they also now have a digital experience. We bridge them into the digital experience, and we're giving digital visual tools to utilize. And when we do that, we really reduce the need to get to the agent below 25%. So that containment rate jumps over 75% when we give them these visual aids, visual bots per se, accordingly, right? And we do that by really zoning in on what are the workflows, what are the use cases that the consumer is looking and why they're calling in for, and how do we incorporate that into the visual IVR and whatnot. And of course, there's always the cases where they do need to speak to an agent. And that's where the chat function that Arijit was speaking about with C-Zentrix comes into place, because that chat function can still answer their questions. Maybe the digital visual aid through the visual IVR isn't giving it to them, so we bring them the chat right into the visual IVR, and they can get their answers questioned before they have to speak to a live agent live. And that's what we're trying to prevent from happening if not needed. Or we allow it, we can route it right back to an agent when it does need to happen. But that's really where we're zoning in on here. And what we can do is really support the full cycle of the voice call scenario. So, there's scenario, how do we prevent the call in the first place? How can we bring some of these engagements and tools and aids to the consumer before they even make the call? So how do we can bring that, and how do we identify that and bring that to them? And that's what we think of kind of a proactive engagement. And that can also help prevent the abandoned calls, because if they call during a really high call volume time, we can put the visual IVR and the visual aids right in front of them. And that's where we can really contain those. And of course, some of those get escalated, and they may need to wait for an agent. So we can put informational pieces also into the visual IVR, because it's a digital and visual engagement with them while they're on the phone. And we can collect some of that data to help the agent, so that when it does land with an agent, the agent can see all the interaction data that the consumer was doing while they were waiting for the agent, and we can put all in front of the agent right in their CRM, and they can see that, and it really reduces the handling time that's needed. So as you can see, the visual IVR has really become a bridge to make it a digital and visual experience for the consumer that has called in. And it goes back to that empathy. We're trying to identify and give ways to help the consumer depending on the situation that they're in. And when we see that, you'd see a typical user journey at the top when they dial in, it can be 15, 16, 20 minutes or longer, and that's if there's not a wait time. That's a long wait time as well. And what we do is when we model it to the visual and we bring the digital to it and we make it a truly self-service user journey, we really reduce that time down. We've seen scenarios where we bring it all the way down to 3.5 minutes, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. But just as important is once your user has engaged in this new digital experience when they've called in, now they say, you know what, I'm just going to reutilize the self-service capabilities that I had before, because they can go directly to it. They don't even need to dial in to get access to it anymore. It's an on-demand self-service bot and app that they can get access to right away, and it gives them everything they need. And again, it's going back to putting the tools in front of them and what they need when they need it. And just as importantly, for businesses that, things are changing on the fly, consumers are changing on the fly. If we implement a solution that is really a no-code, low-code type of implementation, it allows you to adapt and make changes on the fly to do what your customers are needing. So really thinking about your service automation and the use cases that you're doing. So you don't just pick one, pick a few and then wake up 6 months later and see if it's working. The ability of a low-code implementation allows you to quickly put use cases in and design it and put it in front of your consumers, and then make changes as needed and as the consumers expect. So really, this is another piece in the ebook that you'll see by implementing this. It's really going to help your operation. And what we can also incorporate now is, from the voice call, you typically don't have access to all those digital tools that I kind of mentioned. Now you do. Because we're making it a digital experience, the visual IVR can incorporate all the smartphone capabilities. So put the signature panel if you need to get a signature from a customer, fill out a complete form, download forms, take a picture if there's an accident claim. That's a use case that we have with some consumers. Upload media, identify where their GPS and the location is, present videos and marketing materials, sales materials while they're in the queue, all these different things that the smartphone and some of the other digital channels are doing. But when a consumer is in the voice channel today, typically that doesn't happen. So visual IVR brings that to it. And of course, it allows you to bring the video call and the video chat into the voice call, so that it then prevents from potentially having to have a live voice call when you can do the chat. So this is really about bringing all those digital tools and digital aids in front of the customer when they're in the voice call. So Johnny, that's kind of an overview of our view of how we put those digital tools and digital aids in front of the consumer, trying to identify when and what and where they are and what they need. So that's our piece from the Zappix view.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I wanted to just give a break because we've been talking for a while, but I like to summarize a lot, and I wanted to pull together sort of what we mentioned, right? Because Arijit set it up really well, right? Where do we go from here? First, you got to integrate your digital channels. They can't be all separate. They can't be all disparate and all over the place. You've got to connect them together. But when you do that, you have to balance your automation with your live agents. Something we say at Zappix here, agents are important. They are trained. They have empathy. They know what customers want. They can relate to them on those calls. And there are calls that you need an agent for. I think we all know that. So when we're integrating our channels, we need to balance the automation with the live agents. And we can do that by keeping them in the loop. Arijit mentioned that. Keep our agents in our loop when we're innovating, as we're choosing things to integrate, as we're choosing ways to automate. Understand, your agents are the ones who are talking to your customers the most. They know what their customers want. They know where customers get tired of, why do I need to call someone for this use case? Go automate that one. But if there's a complex one, leave it to your agents. And when you do this, it also gets your agents invested in the solution. It doesn't feel like, oh, we're automating your job away. We're automating to empower you. Because if you're not boiling the ocean, if you're not trying to automate every single use case, you're automating the tedious ones, the tiresome ones, the repetitive ones that your agents don't want to handle and can burn them out. All of a sudden, your agents say, oh, they're bringing in technology to help me. They're bringing in technology to give me the ability to focus on the calls that matter, the calls where their skills and their training make an impact. And if you do a step farther, and Bob mentioned this a little bit as well, right? You can take your automation, collect information, and give it to agents so they can do their job better. And so as we've integrated by keeping agents in the loop, then we can now bridge that gap, bridge the experience from voice to visual and digital, and we can be delivering good experiences for customers, both talking to agents and using automation. But this is a lot of talking. I want to show folks what they can be doing. So Bob, can you show sort of some of these examples or examples of technology folks could be using?
Yeah, so one way, again, how we're trying to bring those tools, as we mentioned, was visual IVR. So, Arijit had kind of mentioned it in his nice, beautiful diagram and flow that he had, where the visual IVR, just to re-explain and go over what it is when someone dials into the call center, into an IVR system, the business puts, a nice prompts and voice prompts and kind of guides them to say, would you like to self-serve or whatnot? And then when they do and they opt into that, they get a nice customized branded SMS while the voice call is open and guides them through the step-by-step. And then it allows them to click on that and open up that visual experience while the voice call is still open. And then they have the voice prompts kind of still speaking to them and guiding them, so they think that they've still connected to the call center. And then it gives them the digital experience. And this was, again, just quickly reiterating the flow and how that goes, where you have the dial in, the SMS, and then the experience. And of course, you can save that link that allows the consumer, once they've disconnected, to go right back into the app and the bot very easily. So a demo that we show very frequently, that we can, as I mentioned, we build things very on the fly with our no-code, low-code platform. And so we customize and build these very quickly. So this is one demo that we did with the C-Zentrix for our ebook, and where it has the chat embedded into it right now. So typically, what if you guys on the phone would like to do, you can dial in and try it yourself, but I'll go through it here as well. So I'm just going to pivot out of the demo here, and I'm going to put my phone on the screen. Here we are, and I'm also going to put the C-Zentrix agent desktop here. Again, this is my phone, so you see that's my wife that I called earlier. But I'm going to call into a customer care line, just like we might be calling into a business.
We are experiencing more than usual high call volume. If you wish to opt for digital self-service, please press 1. A text message with a link has just been sent. Please open the message and click the link.
So as you see, the IVRs offered and they opted in, that SMS branded that was
What would you like to do?
sent to the
Please select
consumer.
an option on your screen.
So the voice call is still open. The IVR is still speaking to them. It can guide them, and this is all customizable to align to what we expect the consumer to see and view. And then we brand this, and again, for the businesses look and feel. So here is an insurance type of business, and they offer, so the consumer, maybe they need to make a claim.
You selected claims. Please select an option.
So the IVR is still guiding them through there. So I want to submit a claim.
Please fill the form with your claim details.
Okay, so I say, you know what, I did want to speak to an agent, but you know what, maybe I can fill some of this out before I speak to them so I can cut down on the time. So I fill in all my information, time of accident, description. I can even take a picture. I can upload a file easily right while I'm still on the call. So I can take, right here. And all of this information is captured and passed to the agent. So if this has to go to an agent in a live call or through the chat, the agent will see all of this once it's done. And as I mentioned, you can do the signature panel. So as you can see, we captured all the information that the consumer had to submit for their claim.
Your claim submission was successful.
Still did not even have to send it to get live to a live agent yet.
2, 3.
And all that is customizable.
What would you like to do?
So then we can,
You selected my account.
I'm just going to disconnect our IVR so that it's not speaking over us. But you can actually log into your account. In here, you can capture your account balance. You can even pay your bill, enter your credit card details. Everything is captured in here. Now, let's say hypothetically, I've gone through and I've still haven't got everything I need, and I still believe I need to speak to an agent. Well, here's where the chat function comes in. And the C-Zentrix is embedded right in here, so I can still be on the call in the queue, waiting to speak, to a live agent on the voice, but I might be able to answer it by chat. So I want to start a chat session with the agent. I need my account number. So let's say they didn't have their account number, so they can't get the in. So they start a chat session. So as you can see on the right side, this is what an agent would have on their desktop, and you can see the customer has engaged, and the agent is going to say, type back. And now you have a two-way engagement between the consumer who is dialed into the voice call. And again, that was not a digital experience before, but now it is. And now the agent can have a two-way conversation with the consumer without having to have a live voice call. Now, and then if it needs to get escalated, or let's say there does need to be a visual engagement, let's say they need to show damage of a car and it just didn't, the picture of the car didn't work, cover what they needed, the agent can say, let's do a video chat. So the agent is offering to do a video chat. to the consumer says, sure, I'm going to do that. So engages, I'm going to go on mute here.
I think the video's little drag because of the network.
Oh, it's a little lagging. Okay, I'm trying to do 3 different cameras at once. But if you can see on the screen, and we'll send this along to everybody with the ebook, we have this kind of recorded in a video, is that we have a video chat that kind of goes back and forth between, oh, I needed to disconnect my webcam. Oh, that's right. So you don't see me. There you go. That's why it didn't work for the agent, because the agent was doing multiple video screens. So I can refresh this.
Yeah, it is coming. Yeah.
As you can see, real demo, real phones working. I don't know if you can see, but so here I am. I'm a consumer. I say, oh, I've got a broken device. You know, here's my issues. Can you help me, agent? The agent can see it, and you can see the two-way interaction that's going on. So again, the whole concept was the consumer dialed in and wanted to talk to a live agent, and what we did was we brought that digital experience to them. And we're going to disconnect this and end the terminate the call. As you can see, that whole engagement now has turned that voice call into a digital engagement, a visual engagement, and it's helping the consumer answer what they need, give them what they need, give them the tools, the digital tools that they need to solve their issue. Again, and we prevented it from having to do a live voice call overall. So that's really the power of the visual IVR and the power of incorporating these additional tools such as the video chat and whatnot into the visual IVR. And I'm just going to switch this back. Okay, and then there's different ways to do that. So as I mentioned, you know, they may dial in through the call center, but let's say proactively, this is one key point. What if we can get it so that the agent identifies that the consumer needs something, and the agent wants to send them that engagement before they have to dial into the IVR. So we have the ability for an agent to send that SMS link, branded, customized, to the consumer. They get it on their phone, say, oh yes, I do need to do X or Y, and they open it up and they get the same experience as a visual IVR, but they get it through a self-care bot. And that allows them to engage digitally and answer their questions, and again, before they have to dial in and speak back to the agent live. So this kind of a big summary, you know, of how that, you know, the engagements that we do and how we bring these digital tools to the consumer. Johnny, what do you think where we're at? I think we've kind of gone through a lot. I know the ebook, you know, we have the great ebook that everyone's going to get and that we worked on and brought together. Any questions that you've seen that people have kind of sent to you during the webinar?
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I think those are all great insights, and thank you to Arijit. I think this information is really going to be helpful for folks as we progress into this new era of CX, from changing from, you know, what's the corporate expectation to what do consumers expect, because it is, after all, customer experience, right, and customer satisfaction too. So shifting this worldview from channel focused to experience focused, I think will be really helpful. And the solutions you showed there, Bob, I think they seem great. But you're right, I'll get to some questions. We have some time left. So thanks I see some folks sent some questions in, so I'll go through those. Let's see, what's some good ones here? Oh, here's one.
And if anyone else wants to ask questions, send them along. You know, as
we're send more in. We'll keep going if we need to. I think this is one that I think everyone will ask for any technology or any solution oriented thing, but an important one. What's the ROI of digital experiences versus traditional experiences, right? I'm sure folks are interested. They have a traditional experience. They have the solutions they've already implemented, and they're working. They see people using them. What's the financial benefit? What's in it for them implementing these digital experiences? And I think I'll let Bob, if you come back while they clean my windows. answer those questions. And we're doing it live, guys. Please welcome the window cleaners to the webinar.
Maybe ask him a question, see if he's interested. So yeah, so on the ROI, again, we're really reducing the ability for agents to have to stay on the line with consumers lengthy. So we'll, for those calls that have to go to an agent, we really reduce the handling time. So that helps, again, bring the value to, to the call center by reducing those types of costs. And again, it's also not just about the cost savings, it's about increasing revenues by engaging the customer and pushing and promoting things in front of them accordingly. Arijit, how have you kind of seen some of the ROI from your perspective, again, with the chat and the WhatsApp and incorporating, and you've been pitching the visual IVR jointly as well. How about from your view?
Yeah, so what I wanted to highlight here is voice call is very expensive, okay? And it is from a resource standpoint as well from a tech standpoint, whether the call comes in or not, there's a toll-free number that you're paying for and other things that is. So if you look at the total cost of ownership between a legacy way of providing customer service and versus with the orchestrated solution with digital plus the existing solution. So what we are seeing that the better the design of the automation, the better is the containment, higher the containment rate is a significant advantage for a business to incorporate and applying these technologies. There are two-pronged benefits. One is creating a happier customer at the end of the day, and which is the desire of all organizations. And second is achieving it at a lower cost of operation, because I need less agents, and now we are using the agents where they are really required for, rather than using the agents for everything, right? And that further reduces the cost. And then, as I said in the presentation, that in a live call, one agent can take only one call at a time. The concurrency is not there, whereas in a chat there is a concurrency which is happening, so you can further reduce the need of an agent. Okay, so to put some numbers in front of us, I would say that the cost benefit of applying a digital customer experience can be anywhere more than 30 to 50% of what they are investing right now on. So that kind of benefit can be easily achieved.
Great.
Thanks, Arijit and Bob. Solutions are great, customer experience is great, but sometimes it comes down to brass tacks. Is there going to be a financial benefit to my business? And I'm glad there is. Another one question here says we find a lot of our digital transformation projects get pretty complicated to implement across channels. What's the easiest way to implement self-service? So I guess what does implementation look like? I know, Bob, you showed one slide about sort of the implementation process for Zappix. Is it easy? Is it hard? How long does it take?
So, a big piece of it is investing in building out a platform that has the integration components already preset and pre-integrated. And what we built is a studio that allows us to easily drag and drop and design the look and feel and incorporate those use cases very quickly in minutes, if not even seconds. But really the investment and the power is then broadening it and the accessibility of it and working with our partnerships like C-Zentrix, where we work on our API suite and those pre-integrations so that we can easily incorporate the chat solution, the WhatsApp solution right into the visual IVR very simply. There's no long integration work done. It's all cloud-based, no very low requirements required by the business. We put together the framework for them. We put together the use case design. We meet with them. We kind of capture that. And then it really comes down to just testing. And that's why when a supplier like us that brings these solutions and we can have it pre-built, it's really easy to modify on the fly for them and design it for them and launch, as I mentioned, in a matter of weeks. Again, obviously different use cases, but being pre-integrated into payment systems and pre-integrated into other CRM systems, and then being able to capture the information and pass back and forth. So all that work and that investment that's done up at front, we brought that and we've put that into the platform. And again, of course, what C-Zentrix has built as well, and that's why it's so simple, you know, for businesses then to jump on and incorporate. So, Arijit, from your view in some of the clients that you spoke to about implementation, you know, does that resonate? You know, that investment that we've done, make it so much easier.
Pretty much, because as you rightly mentioned, everything's over the cloud. And as we just saw, you get an admin panel, you just configure your agents and off you go. There's nothing to be done from anything to be customized as such. Although there can be certain reports when we are talking about the chat and the transcript and other things which are standard part of the core product itself, but sometimes customers would like to have a customization over the reports. Otherwise, it is very straightforward, and it can be deployed. As you said, in matter of days, this can deploy for any business.
I think we have time for one more question, so I'm going to try to squeeze it in here. It talks about we have customers who go to our website with really complex questions. Can they help? Can the video chat help there too? I think this is a good one, right? Because Bob, you showed the demos on a phone, but do things work on websites too?
Yeah. So as we said, that the chat platform is a multimodal, so it is more or less device agnostic. So it can work on browsers, on laptops, tablets, or even on mobiles. It can have, it has mobile SDKs as well, so it can be integrated with your mobile app. And as I mentioned during my presentation as well as in the demo, that the chat doubles up or as a video call as well. So in case the customer does not want a video chat, but straight away wants a video call to be be part of the solution, because there are several companies that we are talking to, and they do not want the guy now to chat. They are in middle of the game. They just want to have a call and quickly sort the issue. So this can be converted into a straight away a video call, instead of what Bob was saying, showing is that a chat and then you start a video call, right? So these are all the fun and interesting things that we can do.
Well, great. I think that's about time. Want to get
So Johnny, I was just going to show, so everybody that attended, and I know a lot of people sign up and may have jumped on or jumped off, and we will have it pre-recorded, so it'll be able to be viewed at a different time as well. So those who join in the off hours, welcome, and thank you for joining as well. But here's, as I mentioned, the ebook, and a lot of the, we talk and everybody talks on webinars, but the investment that the teams put into place over the matter of weeks of putting together the ebook and the solutions that come out of it, that we'll be sending this along to everybody as well, and you can kind of just read through it yourself. But it's really some good info, and you can, again, everybody has their 2 cents, but I think what you'll incorporate, what you'll see is here a couple of really key themes that go through it about how to really make an impact very quickly. So look forward to seeing that when we send that along after the webinar. And of course, if you have any questions, you have our contact information. You can reach out to us and we'll answer any questions as well. But from my perspective, again, thank you for joining us. And then Johnny, do you want to or Arijit, any last comments, and then Johnny wrap it up?
Yeah, I am very glad that we were able to put together an ebook, and I think this ebook will be kind of a North Star towards providing digital customer experience. And as an organization, as OEM, what we think, and I would really love that people go through this ebook and give us certain feedback about what their industry is seeking for, and we can refine further and maybe share in another webinar.
Yeah, I'm sure folks will benefit from the ebook, and I'm sure any vendor, any good vendor, with their ear to the ground, wants to know, what are you guys out there in the industry? What are your concerns? And what do you think about the things that we say? Because if you didn't know, Bob, Arijit, Zappix, C-Zentrix, we work with thousands of consumers and hundreds of customers making these solutions and putting together information so you guys can benefit. So I'm sure if there's feedback or there's insights that you have, share it with us. Go to our LinkedIn page or our website and let us know what you think. So thanks for attending, guys, and that's our webinar. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.